Guys, how's it going? Before we start, I just wanted to say thanks so much for you guys for being patient. I know it has been way too long since I put out a video. Just some stuff going on behind the scenes. Some of you guys may know I have a band, Black Friday. We just put out a new single and I knew that that was going to be really crazy. The music video and single, all that stuff was releasing, as well as a bunch of shows in our hometown and out of town coming up, and just the craziness around preparing to launch a new single, getting ready for shows, merchandise, hitting the road, all that kind of stuff. I thought I could maybe try to get some videos edited and stuff going at the same time as the launch for that new single, but I was just totally overwhelmed, honestly. So sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for being patient. If you haven't had a chance to check out the single, feel free. I guess I'll leave it in the description down below in case you're curious and you guys are into metal. But aside from that, let's get on to this week's episode. So on today's show, I figured I'd take you guys along with me as I detail the exterior of my car. We're going to be claybarring the car, we're going to be polishing the car, and then waxing for the finish. Now, just right off the top, I am not a professional detailer. I did not work in detailing cars at any point in my career or anything like that. So I'm sure there are some things that I could probably be doing to be more efficient or maybe get a little bit better results. But I think that is one of the reasons why I think this episode is kind of important and I wanted to make it, is just because when I got my car brand new back in 2009, I immediately wanted to find out how to take care of the car properly, because I still do, but even back then I knew right off the hop, I love this car. I wanted to find out what the best way to take care of it was and make the paint and everything last so it looked like a showroom show car for years and years and years, like for a super long time. But I didn't know anything about detailing a car. I'd never put wax on a car. I didn't know the first thing about detailing a car. I'd never hand washed, anything like that. I knew nothing. So I think the reason that I wanted to make this video is to prove that even if you have zero experience in detailing cars, you can still get amazing results for your car and make it look like a show car, and it'll keep your paint looking unbelievable years and years to come. My car is 2009 and it looks better than most of the new cars on the road. So now the first step that I usually go to before I do any like major detail where I'm going to be like either correcting the paint or polishing, stuff like that, like really getting the depth out of your paint, or even before waxing is actually probably a really good idea too, honestly, is claybarring the car. So for anybody that doesn't know what claybarring is, claybar is basically almost exactly what it sounds like. It's a chunk of clay that you literally rub over the surface of your paint, and it takes all the surface contaminants out of your paint. The funny thing is you can, instead of just like visually seeing the difference, because sometimes it's really hard to see the difference from like a clay bar, you literally feel it. So if you run your fingers along the paint of your car, you can feel all the ripples and bumps. It's just not even and smooth. You might not think anything of it, but you can actually feel it on your paint. And then after you clay bar the car, you run your fingers on it and it is smooth like glass. The difference between rubbing your hand on a spot that you have clay barred and a spot that you haven't got to yet is actually crazy different. It's kind of eye-opening, honestly. But the whole reason we do clay barring is to try to get those surface contaminants out before we start polishing and waxing, so that when we seal the coat of your paint to the atmosphere with wax, we're not sealing those contaminants into your paint. Now, just like on the washing video, I'm not super particular on what products you're using. I don't get really hung up on products too much. If you're using good reputable names, like I like Meguiar's, that's just kind of my go-to, but if you use Chemical Guys, if you use Mother's, there's a lot of extremely good brands out there that have really good products. Any of those kind of big name brands that have a large selection of different detail products will probably do an amazing job. no matter what, they will do a better job than just leaving it. So don't get too hung up on the products and name brands that we're using. Whatever you prefer, chances are they probably do a really excellent job. So just go with that. So for my car, I'm using a Meguiar's clay kit. Now with that, it comes with clay. It comes with a microfiber towel, and it comes with detailing spray. So to apply a clay kit, what you want to do is start spraying down the surface of your car and the clay itself with the detail spray. You want it to be moist and kind of take away any kind of friction. You don't want to use this on the dry surface of the car. But basically, you liberally use a lot of the detail spray over both the clay and your car, and you just rub the clay over the surface of your entire car. Now what you're going to want to do also is, after you've done a certain square area of the car, you want to take a look at the clay, and you'll actually see all the contaminants you're pulling out of the car. It'll be like dark or black little gunk and stuff that's in the clay bar that you're not even really seeing as you're looking at the surface of the car. So once that gets a little contaminated, you don't want to keep using that all over the car. So what you do is you fold the clay in a new section and then just flatten out a nice clean bright white section where there's not a lot of gook, and then you keep going. Okay, so now after you've clay barred the entire car and you've felt the unbelievable smoothie goodness that your paint surface now is, now it's time to get ready to do whatever kind of correction or paint treatment that you're going to do on your car. In this case, I'm going straight to polish because I don't need to get too in depth with a compound. A compound will go a lot deeper and more in depth, but my car's pretty good. It just needs a little bit of a pick-me-up, so I'm just using some polish. Now, the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish is what I'm using, and they claim right in the material description that for dark paint, it brings up the deepness and richness of dark paint jobs, so it's kind of exactly what we're going for. And this stuff is fantastic. I've used it quite a few times. It's excellent. So now here's the thing. You can apply it without a machine. You can just hand wipe it on, and it does take a long time, but it is 100% doable. But to make this application way easier, I went out a long time ago and got myself a dual action polisher, like this Porter cable unit, which is what I'm using right now. Now this unit is around the $250-ish kind of range. This one's $259 right now on Home Depot's website. Back in the day, I think it was a little bit cheaper. Now that does seem a little bit steep for, hey, I just want to detail my car. I don't really want to spend a couple $100. And you don't have to, don't get me wrong. But if it's something that you're going to be doing for a long time, and I don't use it specifically just for polishing and stuff like that. I use it for waxing especially. It's something you'll use throughout the life of the car and taking care of your vehicles. It's honestly, it's just worth it. And the thing that makes a dual action random orbital polisher work really well is the fact that instead of something that just spins in the same spot in a circle at a certain speed, it's random. So it spins and it goes back and forth, so it's not hitting the same spot with the same pressure in the same area over and over again. So basically, it makes it so that you don't burn up your paint. Because if you put a lot of RPMs on a machine right in one spot on your paint, you can hurt your paint. So a random orbital polisher like that will ensure that even if you're got a fairly high RPM on the machine, it's fairly easy to just do a nice easy job, and it's not going to hurt your paint. Way easier on your clear coat and stuff like that. So that is the way to go if you want to do polishing on your vehicle. Now, on top of a random orbiting polisher, there are different applicator pads that you use to put it on. There are finishing pads, there are polishing pads. So for this one, I'm using a polishing pad. Actually, I've never used this brand before. Simon is, I'm pretty sure that's the way you pronounce it. I'm using their pads because they were available just at Canadian Tire For us, it was super easy. Before I was using Meguiar's pads, but they're almost a little harder to come by now. So these guys are super easy and available, so I decided I'd give this one a shot. So basically, I just want to apply a bit of polish in a circular pattern on the pad itself, and then just hit a certain area. Now you don't want to go insane with the polish, just kind of not too little and not too much. So basically what you'll want to do is put the polish on the car and then just do certain square areas of the car at a time. Just go over them in a nice, gentle fashion. We're not pushing hard into the paint or anything like that. Once you've hit the surface area that you want to, you're basically going to take the microfiber towel and you're just going to wipe that polish off. Wipe the excess polish off, and underneath you'll see the super unbelievably shiny glass-like finish that it left behind. Like honestly, after wiping this off with a towel, it is honestly like a weird mirror in black Gothic style, kind of. It looks amazing. It's a mirror finish. Now keep in mind, if your paint is really bad and you had to use compound first, compound and then polish, and then you want to seal that paint, because basically you've kind of rubbed away a little bit of the clear coat. So all the fine scratches in the clear coat are kind of, you get rid of them so that just the depth and richness of that paint color comes through and just looks amazing. But basically your paint is kind of vulnerable at this point. You've stripped everything away and you want to try to cover it up and protect it from environmental contaminants, the atmosphere, sap, anything like that. You want to try to keep, you spent all that time claybaring and then detailing. Now you want to protect that paint that you just brought that beautiful richness out of. So next step is waxing, and waxing is basically putting a protectant layer over top of your paint just to protect it from that atmosphere so that it stays nice and contaminant free, but also deep, rich, and shiny, as well as protected. So for this step, I use Meguiar's Tech Wax, their 2.0 stuff. I know that they also have a new ceramic wax, which I haven't had the chance to try yet, but it looks super cool as well. So for this application, we're going to use a different pad. We're going to use a finishing pad. And that finishing pad, we're going to be able to put the wax on. It's a little bit more gentle and good for a wax application like this. So same deal, we're gonna swirl on our wax and then just start applying it in a certain square area. And same thing, not a lot of pressure, nice and gently. Make sure every square inch is covered. nice thing about using a dual action polisher like this is honestly, it speeds up the process like crazy. It honestly doesn't take all that long to get your car looking amazing. And then after that's complete, same deal, we're gonna wipe that off with a towel. And same thing applies with, you wanna do an area and then wipe that area off with a towel after. You don't really want this stuff to like dry and harden or anything like that. You wanna hit it right away. After wiping down this area, the car literally looks like glass. It looks like a mirror. Like the depth of the black in this is unbelievable. Especially on a black car. Black cars are unbelievably difficult to keep clean. It goes to show even more just how unbelievably great of a job this stuff does. So there you have it, guys. Just hopefully that helped you guys out a little bit. And if some of you guys were on the fence about trying to detail your cars, or maybe you picked up your Challenger used, maybe it was you know, a 2008 to 14 model, and you just thought the paint it was looking a little bit dull and you didn't know what to do with it, or maybe you're just wondering how can I make this thing look like a show car. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Honestly, give it a try. You'll be surprised, even with zero experience, just a little bit of time and effort into your car, the results are amazing what you can get. It's really impressive how beautifully you can make your car look with just a little bit of work. Anyways, thanks guys. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.